The podcast.
To Film Shapes.
Welcome.
All I have for you is a word. Tenet. It'll open the right doors, some of the wrong ones too. Use it carefully.
Well, hello, and welcome to Film Shape's first big pod since the lockdown. I say big because we're going to talk about Christopher Nolan's latest film, Tenet. First, hello, Roly.
Hello.
How you going?
Good. Sorry, I'm just turning my phone off.
Good idea. And hi, Merv. How you going?
Excellent, thank you.
Great. So, now this is Nolan's 11th feature, guys. It stars John David Washington, Elizabeth Debicki, Robert Pattinson, and Kenneth Branagh. I'd say it's broadly a time travel thriller, but there's a lot of stuff to unpack. So we saw it a few nights ago now, didn't we? Rolly, what did you think?
Ooh, palindromic?
Yeah, the title.
Can we call it that?
Yeah.
Well, the whole film is that way too. Well,
I suppose
no.
it is, yeah.
I guess to say that, you'd have to be able to play the film in reverse. But certainly it does for time what Inception did for dreams and the subconscious, doesn't it? It's kind of an Inception style film, but I really enjoyed it. I liked it.
Yeah, I had a good time with it as well, actually.
I struggled with it as well in terms of comprehension. I think a lot of people are going to have a really hard time with this film, but...
Can I posit something here? I think it was to do with actual hearing ability in a lot of cases. Did you reckon? Like,
I didn't notice that.
I couldn't hear some of the dialogue. So it was. I think it's either a bad sound mix or he doesn't really care. He wants us to be a little bit on the edge, a little confused about things. So I reckon 3 or 4 different spots I was struggling to hear the dialogue. Maybe it's my old ears, perhaps.
I don't know. Did you find that, Merv?
Yeah, there were a couple of bits where I found the dialogue a bit muddy, but I know, I think that it's hard to tell because the soundtrack itself was a bit muddy in
everything.
The kind of the whole, just particularly when they do go backwards, it becomes real. The sound does change a bit. I found anyway.
There's a lot of bass in there,
Yeah.
and it was very loud as well, especially towards the end. It feels like the whole film gets louder as it progresses.
Yeah, maybe it does, yeah. That's the thing. I've got a bit of I'd like to say blind spot, but I should say deaf spot, I suppose, for soundtracks and things in films, as you've probably guessed. Yeah, but I don't know. The people in masks speaking, a bit like Bane from Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah,
kind of issue.
yeah, that's true.
When they're doing catamaran racing, and there was an interesting something about the nuclear stuff he has to get. I couldn't hear any of that shit.
I mean, it's possible we were in a cinema where they had a problem with the middle speaker or something, which usually contains a lot of the voices.
But I've read a bit of stuff of people saying, yeah, what's going on? I couldn't hear that, or I couldn't quite get that. So I'm not sure it's just Morley cinema. I thought it could be, yeah. Yeah, Merv, generally, though.
I watched it. Enjoyed it.
Okay.
Oh, you enjoyed it?
Yeah. But I've kind of forgotten a lot of it. It didn't stay with me.
Really? Okay.
No.
Huh.
I just kind of left a bit meh.
Can I ask, because for me, I'm happy to watch any of this guy's stuff. What about you?
I've always enjoyed a lot of his films. I kind of went through, someone put out a top whatever, but ranked all his films. I was kind of some I'd forgotten he'd even done. It was like, oh yeah, because he's done a real mixed bag. He's played in a variety of genres and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a visually stunning film.
Yeah,
it was an epic film. But I just found, I think it was more the dialogue just sucked for most of this film.
Really?
Yeah, it was my big issue was the first half. See, the second half I enjoyed when things got going. Once you kind of knew what was semi-happening, the film just got along on itself. The first half was just exposition after exposition, where it was just bad scenes of, hey, do you know this guy? Oh, yes, he's blah, 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 blah. Oh, yes, and he's blah, 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 blah. But don't forget he's blah, blah, Bye.
Right, so you're not. It's not specifically the words they're saying. It's the fact that there's so much exposition in here to get us on board.
Yeah, and I think I don't think there was a lot that was needed. Like the whole explanation of who Kenneth Branagh's character was.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, he was. Did we really? I mean, basically all we're saying was he's a bad Russian oligarch.
You did the secret cities before in the 70s.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess there's so much that you're going to walk away from this film not getting that. Yeah, maybe just to take out some of that, would be doing you a favour as well. But
it was just clunkily done.
If you're happy to just watch it and not feel like you're on top of it the whole time.
I've got a feeling it just doesn't. He wants to confuse people a little bit, almost like it's. I don't want to. I like the guy, but I'm not sure. He's maybe patronising the audience a little bit by saying, "Look, this is how difficult it is, but don't worry about it. You guys won't get it. You know, I've written all this. Don't worry, I know what it's all about. But maybe you guys won't get it. So yeah, just don't worry about it. Just look at all the fun shit that's going on."
Shady, I'm just looking at you, noticing your mic is completely pointing in the wrong direction.
Oh,
you're not even talking into it.
Oh fuck. Okay, how's this?
That's better.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to swivel to see Merv. Because I really need to see Merv.
To castigate me.
Sorry.
Feel free to adjust.
Okay, thank you.
I think you.
Good point. Bad mic work there. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he's relatively. It doesn't really care about whether we get it or not. Don't you think?
Yeah, there was a fair bit of exposition in Inception.
Yeah,
but I think it was just done. The scenes actually had purpose. Like, for instance, I think when he was going through, it's been a while since I've seen it, his wife's trying to explain who the wife was, how she kept appearing. Mm-hmm. And it was done within a dream. Okay. And so you saw someone experience and trying to get the explanation of what was happening. And kind of as they moved, I think it was down through that elevator into room from room.
Yep.
Okay, you had experience and you had exposition, but it kind of you were going on a journey of why this was happening with a character, where this is just two people meeting in a random flash restaurant, blah blah blah.
Good
it's Michael Caine popping up. Yeah. Or just the way we're suddenly in a lounge room talking, and then suddenly down the street, and we're continuing the exact same conversation.
No problem with that. I told you. This is just an editing trick. It's not.
It's bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that either. I think that was fine. But there's the the mum and the child thing that kind of maybe takes over a little bit from where some of the personal interactions in Inception would have, based on their dreams and things, and you were uncovering the characters through that. But that dynamic was maybe put over to the female side on this, was it? Was it more of a and the rest was all, boys and toys?
Okay.
And then there was the softer side of the film was pretty much all encased in the female and the son and her trying to get out of this abusive relationship with the oligarch.
Yeah. So you're saying that's a little marginalised, or
maybe it was compartmentalised a little more. So not every character had that same level of depth.
Yeah,
possibly.
Well, they are calling it. Was it his James Bond film?
Yeah, a lot of people have said that too. Yeah.
But I enjoy it. I was fine with that.
Yeah, I liked it. I got a lot out of this. I'd probably watch it again too. You certainly wouldn't, Merv.
No. I have no real desire to see it again. I don't think I'd gain any more insight into it.
Okay. Speaking of Elizabeth Debicki's character and her son, here comes a massive possible spoiler, but Roly, you said something outside the cinema, and I've only seen one other person online mention this. You've forgotten this already?
No, I know what you're talking about.
Can you explain what your theory is?
Without spoiling?
No, let's spoil it. Let's go for it now.
Well,
but if you don't want to hear...
The kid is... I'll try and do it without spoiling.
No, do it.
The kid is an important character in the film. And it's revealed later, towards the end of the film, this character says, "Don't you know who I am yet?" Because he's obviously met, in the time sequence of things, he's met the other person before. And he says, you'll get to find out who I am very soon. But there's only, in my eyes, one person that can be, and that's the kid in the film.
Yeah. Okay.
Whose mother is being abused by the Russian guy.
Yeah.
I don't see any other way out of that. But yeah, I'm surprised that's not more of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think I've seen one person suggest, this is my theory, blah, 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 and that's exactly what you'd said, but I didn't get that at all. I'm not saying it's not actual fact, but I didn't guess it. So maybe I'm wrong. Merv, did you?
No, I think I completely missed that line. So
Yeah. That was towards the end, right?
yeah, it's pretty much right at the end.
Which line did you miss when he said,
Well, you said
you'll meet me soon?
Oh, no, I got all that, but it was, don't you know who I am yet? I think I just missed that bit.
Haven't
I'm
you
paraphrasing,
guessed,
so I
haven't
can't
you
remember.
guessed
Yeah.
yet or something.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
thought that was because he said, I'm coming to the end of this is the end of our timeline, whereas you're just at the beginning of it. I suppose that also means he's older.
Points in the same
Yeah.
direction.
Okay, I didn't get it. That's pretty good, if that's the case.
You know, there's probably a bunch of things in there that none of us got as well, so a second watch would be interesting as well.
Yes, yeah.
And there's not many films I'm that keen on watching again.
Right. I've got... Now, while we're in spoiler territory, can I just ask a few things to see if you guys got this? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, why didn't... Okay, there's a point where the protagonist, as his character's called, where he fights himself.
Oh, yeah, I've got a question about this.
Okay, so why didn't he disintegrate or whatever the hell that
Because they didn't physically touch. There was a barrier because he was in the full armour.
is that it? Is that
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
I
because-
thought it may have been something to do with eyesight. Like they didn't lock eyes.
No. They always said there has to be a barrier. That was explained.
So it's a bit of fucking material, glove material or something.
Well, it's... Yeah.
Why did he Why did he pull a gun?
Yes,
That's more...
Why did he try and shoot himself?
Did he know it was himself then? This is going to sound nuts to people who haven't seen this.
He must have.
This is so spoiler
Yeah.
for the film,
He's-
isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, let's do it. I mean, I've mentioned
Because
this. It's all right.
it's within his forward timeline.
But before, as we saw it, first time, we didn't know who that was. He didn't know who he was.
No.
But the other guy knew who he was.
Yes.
The other him.
The one in the combat suit.
Oh,
The one in the combat suit knew.
Yeah, and he was the one that fired the gun.
Yes, that's what I don't understand.
Forward firing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
But it
to his head.
Something is mentioned earlier, though, with this when he's learning to mess around with the backward bullets on the table, and he says, "Instinct,
You've got to feel it. Don't
instinct.
think
You've
about
got to feel
Yeah.
it." So, just that little line can explain a lot of these other things, I think. Because why did he bring the gun? It just felt right at the time.
Oh, no, I know
had to
why
bring-
he had to bring the gun.
you know-
He was going through a massive fight at that stage. But why did he...
Yeah.
So why did he shoot the gun at himself?
At himself?
Yeah. But he
Knowing who he was. Well, one, he could see himself.
Well, he knew that he wasn't going to hit himself,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was fulfilling the timeline
Which he'd already done, though.
instinctually.
No, I got to think. I'm thinking he probably wanted to. If Forward's protagonist thought this guy's not even trying to shoot me, why not? What's going on here? Maybe that would have given him more of an indication about what was to happen.
Oh, he would have had no idea at that stage.
Okay, so, yeah. Okay. Next question. Why didn't the world finish when Debicki killed Branagh? Because there was still 30 seconds to go.
I think because the possibility for the bomb to be used had sort of dissipated. Like, even though the time, what was the reasoning behind why it had to end there in the first place? It was to do with this bomb, wasn't it?
Yeah, but if he he had something implanted that if he died before they got to the bomb.
But they had got to the bomb. They'd already been...
Do you reckon they'd separated the parts by then?
They might have separated the parts, or they might have... It might have just... Maybe the other guy got thrown down that chute. Once that other guy had died, there was no more threat. And they were... Even if they hadn't physically taken the bomb out of there, there was no other way for the bad guys to get the bomb at that point.
Right.
Well, that was just really slow internet.
Yeah.
And Christopher Nolan's listening to this podcast in the future going, what a bunch of fuckwits these three are.
But that Roly guy, he's got it.
I tried to explain everything, still didn't get it.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Okay, what have I can't even read my writing here. My eyes really are losing it. Okay, who or what were the future agents who want to wipe out the past or the present?
Never explained. MacGuffin, you don't need to know.
That's not a MacGuffin.
They're constantly mentioned, but you don't know what or who they are.
Oh, okay, well, they're not an object.
That's
I thought a
right.
MacGuffin is a... I don't know, would you back me up there, Shane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I'm just
technically
going to pull
not
you
a
down
MacGuffin.
there, Merv, sorry.
It's technically not, but so a MacGuffin is something that drives the plot that people are after or looking for or something. I
So
guess.
it's a metaphorical MacGuffin then.
So
So, but to the question, who are they?
Yeah.
It's explicitly stated they don't know, and they also don't know the reasons or why they would want to destroy the past.
well, no, they do.
They do.
Branagh's explained a bit of that in muffled tones, I might say.
Maybe I missed it then.
It was about look what you've done to the planet.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back. You've fucking ruined the planet. It's an environmental message, basically.
But they also deal with the the grandfather paradox or whatever. If you go back in time and change something, isn't that going to affect the future? And how do they know that? And
Well, and this goes in the same category as the end game, doesn't it?
it's a good point that they make, though. It's like, well, yeah, we don't know, but obviously the people in the future don't think that it's a problem.
Okay, right.
So they're going to fuck it all up as much as they
reckon
want.
it's all right.
Yeah.
So we should, But what's the opposite of that? I suppose the Back to the Future style of film,
where his hand starts going invisible.
Right. So you could take, either side of that. Avengers Endgame decides that's what's happened has happened, is what they keep saying in this film. So
I think they're taking a bit of a multiple universe approach. So, so you're in the timeline. You're in one timeline that another one may split off and cause a problem.
Yeah.
But as long as the timeline you're in
that's past now.
is okay,
That's happened.
then
Yeah. Okay, so we don't know who they were. Okay, but here's another one. Where is it? Okay, did this may be flippant. Did those wind farms have anything to do with anything?
Why?
I just think they were a
Cool set.
cool looking,
cool location.
very, cool location.
Right, why did he go and hide in one at the beginning of the film for a certain amount of days?
I thought it was because it was a... didn't he have to... Oh, he had it... Oh, I'm trying to remember now.
Just training?
No, I thought it was one of those time portal things.
No, don't.
I thought they said he was in... So he went into it because something had to happen. Because remember, they went back there when they all had to get everyone prepared.
Right.
So I think some of those wind farms were...
Oh.
There might be more to the wind farms. I guess it would be a pretty clear indication. They're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
All they have to know if it's worked is they're going in the opposite direction
So
when they come out or something.
Maybe.
Maybe it's worth
Because that's
having a
where
look.
when they all get ready for the big end battle,
So
that's where they start and go backwards from.
You think the rotors go reversed when it's... Is that what you're saying? The actual windmill...
Well, yeah, it would, according to the
Yeah.
logic of the film.
I didn't think of that, yeah. So
Because
we should
they've
look
said-
at it again.
Well,
Yeah.
even bloody hot stuff is cold. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But the fact that you can get on board with that, so his car explodes and he almost dies of hypothermia.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's ludicrous, but good fun.
But yeah, I think that's where the success in this film is it allows you to believe just for a second these ludicrous things.
Yeah, and that was quite well done. The reverse sort of, when you step out of here, you're going to be really, disoriented, and he's kind of trying to get into his car and do all the acting of those bits must have been pretty hard to do, I'd say.
Yeah, I wonder if they actually walked in reverse, then sped up. I don't know.
Forward yeah, maybe. Do you think also the Indian arms dealer was she also a future agent, a la Kenneth Branagh's character? Did she have?
Oh yeah,
anything
she was part of the Tenet program.
But was she going to the future and finding out shit and coming back as well?
No, I think. Well, obviously, yes, she was an agent put in place, so she knew stuff. But
Right.
I don't think she was necessarily being communicated with because she didn't see what happened to her coming.
Right, true. Yeah, nicely put. Yeah.
But
What's the term they use for distributing the knowledge? Was in this film.
Was it?
So no one person has the overall plan.
Oh, yeah.
except for the protagonist.
But he didn't
No,
know
no,
it.
he doesn't either. He's still
he's like- he's
well.
just
He's
getting
trying to
it
work
now.
it out.
But
whole
he
time.
set it all in motion
Yeah.
Right.
because it's all his plan. What's happening?
But he didn't know that
In the
through
sense
the
of the
film.
count. The count. No, he doesn't. But he does
No, he doesn't, but he does. The fuck are you
Instinct.
talking about?
He feels it.
Oh,
in the future.
In the future, he knows.
He's sent this all back, and because he sent Robert Pattinson's character back, he set up the Indian arms dealer. So these are all people that he has put in place.
Yeah, but he doesn't know it at the beginning of the film.
No, he doesn't know at the beginning of the film because his journey's just starting.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's madness. It's hard, yeah.
I got a bit confused by the reverse bungee.
Oh, well, that wasn't
thinking-
anything to do with that, though, was it?
No, I know, but in a film like this, to have a reverse bungee that's not to do with all the other kind of.
Do you think that's a little hint? Like, look what we might be doing in the next
I guess,
30 minutes.
yeah, I guess so. But it was kind of unnecessary at that point. He'd already seen backwards bullets by then, right?
Yes, I think he had.
So yeah,
No, that was a pretty good scene, though.
yeah. I was thinking, these particular bungee ropes have come from the future. They're inverted bungee ropes,
Right.
so they're gonna.
Whereas in actual fact, they're just very elastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. All right. That's true. Oh, man. Yeah, it's This is because it's hard to follow. It's also hard to remember what I wanted to say about this. How are you doing this without notes, man? This is amazing. You're just reacting, aren't
I
you?
don't think I'm doing much, to be honest. You know, one thing I'll say with this film, because you're going to ask me at the end, final thoughts.
Yes.
Before I forget, just to see a film where there's a battle scene, right, this is the achievement, I think, where there's a battle scene with two sides of a force, one of them going forwards through time and another going backwards through time, fighting the same battle. And to have that in a film like that's an achievement, even if you only understand 50% of it, which is probably about what I would say about that battle scene. I couldn't work out a lot of what was going on and who was going where and why. Yeah,
that's true.
there was a guy that at one point the building, there was a reverse explosion, and one of the forward guys got caught in this reverse explosion, and kind of ended up inside the building or inside the wall or something.
Encased in that wall, yeah.
But
that's incredible.
But just it's a ballsy thing to attempt, you know. But I guess when you're Nolan, you can do that.
Yeah, that's right. Following that brings me to this point that I just remembered. At the beginning of the film, the protagonist is a bit confused about things, and he comes at it. His performance is kind of like what, but yeah, a little bit of that. A lot of the time, he's confused and he doesn't know until the end, I suppose, right? So we're learning stuff as he is, I guess.
Yeah.
So, for example, at the end of that battle scene you're talking about, there's another dude in there with him, and he doesn't know who that is, of course, until he realizes this guy's not going to kill me; he's going to help me. And I think that turned out to be Pattinson, didn't it? Because he went back, he picked a lock. And that bit was all very confusing, but
it was a bit muddled.
I got that was Pattinson because he said, "I'm going to go back, right? Because no one can pick a lock like me, right?"
Yeah,
So he was the third guy in where shouldn't have been another guy there, but there was a guy there.
Yeah, so he went off and that's right. He reversed his time in order to help or something.
Yeah.
So instead of going backwards, he started going forwards or whichever one he was doing.
The helicopters are coming in, back out, reverse. Just to get your head around that.
Yeah. But if you let it wash over you for the first viewing, I reckon it's
fine.
Great. Yeah, and then you can go back and sort of check it again. Merv, you should go back.
Well, Merv won't, but...
yeah, that's true. And there was another point there when, in the first run of it, Pattinson looks at this roller door when the airplane goes into that place. Yeah. He's looking at the roller door, and at that point I thought, what's he doing that for? Who's coming through that? And nobody comes through it. But that pays off later.
Yeah.
So a lot of those little sort of sneaky things which paid off later were quite satisfying, I thought.
And also, I got a rush from this film. Like the action scenes, I
Yeah.
thought were great. That commercial kitchen fight scene.
Oh, dude,
was
fuck.
one of the great fight scenes I've seen in the past year on a film. I think the whole thing with deciding that the best way to break into this, what is it, the establishment
Free
where
port, wasn't
The
it?
Freeports, yeah.
yeah, and the best way to break into it is to just drive a plane into it.
Slowly.
Without-
Very slowly.
Slowly, yeah.
Yeah, and like that whole thing was like,
Yeah.
I got a really good buzz off it. I
Yeah.
think
Oh, you must have heard my sort of groan when that cheese grater
it was kind of like a.
Oh. Was it? Fuck off. It was a pathetic whimper.
I had a laugh. I was like, yeah, right.
Oh
nice.
man, I can't. I was grating cheese yesterday, and I couldn't stop thinking about that scene.
Well, if you're ever in a fight,
Grab
and
a
you've got a
cheese
cheese grater.
That fight reminded me of. You ever seen that TV show Gangs of London? Great,
No.
great. There's a fight scene, a couple in that, which are brutal. It's the guy that did the Raid.
Oh,
he's the brains behind that show, but it was very similar to that. Oh yeah.
But yeah, it was very Bond-esque. Some of those moments, I think, the feel I don't get from Bond films anymore.
Right, but
I feel.
did you see that? I mean, the end of Inception is kind of with the snow covered. The third layer, I guess, or third or fourth layer of Dreams is a snow sort of resort, I guess, is it? Where they're having a shootout there. That's Bondy, I suppose. So.
Yeah. And Inception, I did get a similar feeling when they're, when they're at the hotel and someone looks at someone too long, and then suddenly everyone's there. I felt the stress of the characters.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Look, he's a pretty supreme filmmaker, I think we'd have to say, even if you don't necessarily follow or care for his style that much. But he knows his onions.
Yes. And I'm going to say the one thing throughout the movie which I found interesting was actually the music, the score.
Okay.
That was the one thing that did stay with me throughout the whole
So,
thing.
tell me more, because I'm tone deaf for scores. I just can't pick them up unless they're atonal, I think.
Well, the composer was, let me have a look, Ludwig Göransson, Swedish guy, and it's not who, normally Nolan works with this other bloke, whose name escapes me at the moment.
Okay. Oh, it's not Zimmer, is it?
Yes, Zimmer.
Okay, right.
But he was doing some other films, so he got this Ludwig, and he basically told the composer, be more experimental. Be more experimental. And that music sets the tone a lot, I found. I really know. As again, I'm not a massive score person either, but I really noticed it's just that sometimes that score just drove, and the use of bass really hits you in the chest.
Yeah.
And
it poked out at moments, but that was good, because then the rest of the time when it was there, you didn't notice it too much, which I think is a sign of a good score.
Yeah, but it made you feel a little uneasy.
Yeah.
And that soundtrack made me feel uneasy throughout the whole entire film.
Yeah.
Just this kind of noise, and it wasn't always music. I mean, yes, it's music, but sometimes it was just more this. It's designed to just set you off a little bit and say this is particularly. I think when they went to the backward stuff,
Okay.
it was all about this is not natural. You're
there
in
were
a
different
natural
sounds.
Okay.
setting. And sometimes you're just like, ugh. And when big things were happening, the music really, I thought the score was, I actually went to see if I could find it last night to have a quick another listen.
You'd listen to this without the pictures?
Well, I'm just
to
interested
see.
because I just found it kind of an interesting,
Okay.
just to see how unsettling it actually is outside of a cinema. I mean, was I just, because the whole everything to just work all together?
Yeah,
Or is it actually unsettling music?
Yeah, right.
So, sorry, you have listened?
No, I haven't.
to
No,
it?
sorry,
I'd be
I
curious to
Yeah.
listen to it outside of the film.
Did one of you guys suggest that some of the music in the backwards part possibly was backwards?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's what I was kind of...
I'm sure they experimented
Yeah.
with some backwardsness,
Yeah.
but it's a very obvious thing to do. So
Isn't it?
I don't think they did it in a way that was too obvious.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what
No,
they were doing.
it was all very subtly, but it did cross... Because some of the sounds were just like,
Okay.
something's off with this, or something's...
Good.
Why is this making me
Yeah,
feel
good.
so slightly on edge? I mean, is it because I'm hearing it backwards, which your brain's going, that's not right.
Yeah. So it did its job on me because I didn't notice that, but I did feel kind of edgy and on the edge of
I'm
the
going to
seat.
say,
Yeah.
the score matched that film perfectly.
That's
I think it sounds like Merv's might be in the process of reversing his opinion.
You
on the film.
like people to do this, don't you? You've tried it with me a few times. Yeah,
I still have no desire to see it again.
especially in
come
this
on.
film.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, guys, final thoughts.
I'll happily watch the second half of this film again.
All right, well, you got to get through the first half to get to the second
I'll
half.
go make a cup of tea or something.
Long cuppa.
See what Merv's going to do. He's going to start from the end of the film and work his way towards the beginning.
Yeah. That's just one thing. Okay, sorry, Roly, before you give me your final thoughts. Has anyone seen Nolan doing a description of how he made Memento on a chalkboard?
No,
Check that out
that'd
if
be-
you can.
Yeah.
Because he does it like a hairpin thing, right? And he says, okay, that's going forward, and around the back of the head, you need to see it, I suppose. But I think that sort of the style of making Memento is partly in Tenet, where they go to the reverso sort of turny things where they can come back in to the future or the past or whatever. That's kind of a key moment there. Oh, this is really hard to explain. I think he's taken the full idea of Memento, the way he made that film, and put it in parts visually in Tenet.
Yeah.
But you need to probably see both to check it out. And this little 10-minute clip of him describing it to a reporter is pretty amazing to see how he makes a film. Like he said, I don't really see things pictorially, but let me try and draw a diagram for you. And he just draws this sort of weird, long, backward C, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Check that out. It's quite interesting. So yeah, he's always fucking about with time, isn't he, this guy?
Yeah, well, at least in 3 of his films. I don't think he did it too much in the Batman films.
No, not so much. Dunkirk as well, though. All 3 timescapes got a merging at one point. Interstellar too, yeah.
Does he? I haven't seen that one.
Oh, that's good. It's a good
Does he
film.
do sequels ever?
The Batman trilogy,
okay.
I suppose, but no. Do you reckon this is set up for one?
Well, only as much as some of those other films like Inception.
No.
It's probably not a good idea, though.
No, it's a standalone. That's the story.
Yeah,
If
no,
anything-
It would have to be -1. Is this getting old? No, never mind.
All right. Tenet,
if
Tenet
anything,
2, Tenet
I can
minus
see
2.
it
Tenet minus, yeah.
going off into the graphic novel world,
Oh, yeah.
where you can build on the whole world, but not
Bigger
as a
universe.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of a Netflix series called Travelers as well, which is well worth a watch. A lot of the concepts of a future kind of civilization controlling the current one.
Okay.
They felt like it was actually borrowed a little bit from that as well. But yeah, I'm not sure if anyone else has come up with that yet. But yeah, look,
maybe 12 Monkeys did a little bit of that, didn't they? I suppose.
Oh, it's been a while.
Sending Willis
yeah.
back to.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, if you want to jump to a quantum leap.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
That's not.
No.
Stargate? Anyone?
Sorry, go on, Rolly.
Stargate? Oh, no, for fans of science fiction, this is a must-see, isn't it?
I didn't even think of it as a science fiction film.
But it is.
It's
I think
massively a
it
science
is
fiction
very
film.
much a science fiction film, but not a typical.
Yeah, that's right.
one.
Yeah, I got more of sort of action, I suppose. Dramatic action, thriller. But yeah, I guess it is science fiction, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to
Yeah.
be for everyone, but yeah, I'd definitely watch it again down the track.
Yeah. I'll revisit that in about a year, I reckon, as well, just to have another look. It's great. I enjoyed it. Well, guys, thank you very much for your time. See you yesterday. Oh, fuck.
Hello.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.
You want to crash a plane, but not from the air. That was so dramatic. Well, how big a plane? That part is a little dramatic.
Welcome.
To Film Shapes.
The podcast.
Oh, hang on. Let's
Should
do
we go? The podcast.
Yes, yeah. Go on. Let's reverse that. Okay, Merv.
The podcast.
To Film Shapes.
Oh, wow.
Fuck's sake.
No, I was trying to do a backwards welcome.